A warm welcome to all of you to my Lockdown Diaries 4. This is my humble attempt to document my experiences, my thoughts as we go through these testing times, the quarantine days in India. So that's about it on the lockdown front. Still surviving, still living. We haven't stepped out of the house even once as of now. So that's about as best an update that can come from me. The update from India seems to be pretty grim. I have been talking about the scenario in India for the past couple of days, and I have been touching a lot of wood when I've been talking about that. I've been talking about scenarios how India has done relatively well in comparison to the world, and how things could go pretty bad from point A to point Z. In that sense, our fear seems to have materialized in that sense that we have seen the single biggest jump in numbers. The COVID infection patients in India have crossed 1700, and so the numbers tell a pretty grim story. Now you have cases popping up from everywhere, all across India, from Telangana, Karnataka, Kerala, Maharashtra, even Assam has a case now. West Bengal, Uttar Pradesh, everywhere across India you are having these kind of things happening. So in that sense, the scenario is pretty dicey. The whole spike in the numbers has been largely right now being blamed to the whole Tablighi Jamaat, the Markaz that was happening in Hazrat Nizamuddin place in Delhi, and how because of that you had thousands of people that might be possibly infected or spreading to all regions across India. And to be very fair to you, I feel the news is getting very berserk about it. So it's kind of a mayhem on television right now. So I tend to avoid televised news. I've been trying to avoid this for as much time as I can. So there are certain channels which so if your blood pressure is low, you can watch certain channels, and I'm sure they would have an impact on you. And if your blood pressure is high, there are certain other channels who can bring them down. So it's completely crazy out there. I at this moment in time, I was we need to be together on this thing. We need to work things out. Yes, there will be cases like this. There will be incidents like this, and in a country like India, you're never sure where the next cluster would come up from. So we have to be mentally prepared, and administration also has to work. Even on Facebook, when I'm seeing, and this has been one of my you can say a grouse that I have had for quite some time. So if you see Facebook, you can segregate. There's a binarism on Facebook at the moment, on social media, you can say, not Facebook specifically, it's on social media. So you can segregate people or individuals, your friends, your connections, and you can segregate them on two buckets. And one is the pro-government kind of a thing, and the other is anti-government. So for the pro-government, it's all hunky-dory. So if you see the posts from people who are inclined towards Prime Minister Modi's government, so you'll have all positive things coming out. You'll have all how the lockdown was done earlier, what were the steps taken, how amazing the administration has been, how proactive it has been, and blah blah blah, everything in that regards. On the other front, you have the anti-government thing. The anti-government would be seeing all negativity in everything. They would be like, okay, the government has been slow, the migrants crisis has been there, the government didn't think about this, there's a food crisis going on, the lockdown has been bad, the clapping was stupid. So everything that the Modi government does is looked from a very color tinted thing, even by the pro and by the anti. So in this scenario, it becomes very difficult for us to be very objective. So take the case of this whole incident of the Tablighi Jamaat incident, where you had so many things. So the pro government are belaboring the whole fact that okay, how come these people were getting together, how come they had been born, how come this had, how could this be, how could they risk the life of everything, and it's becoming very vituperative in that sense. On the and they won't ask questions like, for personally I have some questions, take the case of our own thing right now. So we are in a lockdown, we are in a curfew scenario. If we step out right now, even if we move an inch from the line, right, the cops will be on us. How come a meeting of such thing was, allowed to go on? How come these people were coming from abroad, from Thailand or whatsoever, how come they were allowed to get in without all those quarantine things in places? How come they came on tourist visa, and how come the administration didn't know about the thing? It's not as if these were 20 people who were hiding inside a room and holding a seminar or a meeting, right? It was thousands. It was not something that was unknown. Yes, the guys were warning and whatsoever, but how could this get to such a pass? So the people who are there pro won't be asking these questions. The people on the anti won't be asking, won't be talking about things. They'll be like, oh, okay, don't color it this way. Let's not blame certain sex individuals, or let's not view it that manner. And they will be there would be apologies kind of offered in front of them, and blame shifted on the government. So in this whole scenario, and this has been my biggest, in a way, my sadness, right? That since 2014, and we have been divided in these kind of thought processes. Our political inclinations are very dominant on our view, right? So the objectivity has gone for a complete toss. And at these moments when we have something like a coronavirus, this whole epidemic of such proportions, I was hoping that it would reunite us. It would, in some manners, we would get united, and in some manners, we would be looking at things on a bigger scale. So for this instance, this whole thing has not been making of a particular government leader or anything. You can't blame it on oh, this wasn't done. There are certain things that India did wrong. There are certain things India has done very well as well. And I've been talking about this all throughout my whatever videos I've been, that we need to look more at the positive side at this moment. We can't be talking about the problems all the time. We have to be, I have this thing personally that let's not discuss problems. We should be talking about solutions. And these are grim times for India. The experts are saying we are moving into the third stage, right? The community spread. Once that is done, you never know how far and how fast this whole thing will spread. And this is where we need to really concern ourselves. This is where we need to think about all the important aspects of taking the right views, following the rules, staying united, staying focused, not getting lost by all these rumors, all these conspiracy theories, all the WhatsApp kind of a thing that keeps happening all the time. We need to be objective in our approach. My personal worry, I'll tell you one thing, and this was something right now. The COVID patients in India are, for me and for you as well, right? They are more like people we don't know. They are figures, they are statistics, they are citizens of this city, citizens of that. But now the whole thing is getting closer to home. My worry is the day what happens when they cease being strangers to us. They are someone we know. There's someone in our in our neighborhood, our friends, our relatives, our close one, you for that matter. I dread the day when I'll see a couple of announcements on Facebook that okay, I have been diagnosed as a COVID-19 tested positive for COVID-19. So that is the worry. What happens then when it comes closer to you? Our whole objective, our whole the viewpoint will change drastically, and we are seeing that in terms. I was talking to a friend today. She was talking about how in her building there was a case that was there was a doctor who tested positive, and so the whole building is in a quarantine, sealed, right? So they are not allowing anyone to move out. They are not allowing anyone to move in, and So simplest of the task, right? Getting rations, getting groceries, getting small thing has become a big issue for them, and you are not even so at that juncture you don't feel safe even when you are inside home, and this is our worry, right? How safe and how long this is gonna be. So we have to be positive in whatever way we can. We have to bear through this grinding times. On the other hand, today while I was surfing for news, and I keep surfing Facebook as well, I came across this beautiful video by Ustad Sujat Khan. He is the son of Ustad Vilayat Khan, the great sitar maestro. So there was this beautiful video where he was it's a 10-minute odd video where he plays a beautiful song on that. And I was just saying, this is a thought that I was just thinking about all these maestros. So you have the Indian classical music maestros like Pandit Hari Prasad Chaurasia is there, Ustad Zakir Hussain would be there, Pandit Shiv Kumar Sharma, Ustad Amjad Ali Khan. These are some of the names that I know. There are a whole lot of them, right? One thing they would be doing even with the lockdown, they would religiously doing about this would be their riyaz. For them, that riyaz is very important and pertinent, right? And for them, it could stretch from a few hours to many hours for them every day on a daily basis. Now, I was just wondering if there was a mechanism, if when say Ustad Zakir Hussain is doing his riyaz on tabla, what if he just could take a mobile, do a Facebook live for all of us? Wouldn't that be wonderful, right? Or Ustad Amjad Ali Khan, his two kids, or Pandit Hari Prasad Chaurasia, his son, all of them. Whenever they are doing riyaz now, you could just take a Facebook thing. Imagine waking up early in the morning. At 6 o'clock you have a 1 hour riyaz session by Ustad Zakir Hussain, and then followed up at 4 o'clock by Hari Prasad Chaurasia. Pandit Shiv Kumar Sharma is in the evening. You have something going on, Ghazal Maestro, or those kind of. So instead of watching all those boring celebrity videos about how they are exercising, how they are washing utensils, their preachy speeches about what to do and what not to do, how to stay positive. Some are getting their hair snipped and all those. Look, instead of that, this could be something positive, and it could be so nice. It could be so calming as well. So let's see if we can possibly do. We can create a movement. We can create we could request all these great maestros to please just air their riyaz. That's all. That's about it. It would help us in these lockdown times. It would help us to calm us down. Indian classical music is a great source for doing that. So I'm sure if this could happen, it would work wonders for us. That's about it on a personal front. We are still trying to figure out what to do, what not to do. On the work front, we are trying to work as much as the internet is there. Of course, thankfully, internet has been a great. The broadband internet that is available now is such a wondrous thing that one of the things, interesting thing has been about this coronavirus. Your appreciation for the smallest thing has increased. So I'll give you an example. Getting a packet of bread, it's become such a wonderful thing. Landing a tetra pack of milk, or finding watermelon, or even going on the YouTube and surfing. The ability to do all these small things has become such a wondrous joy, right? We are rediscovering the small things again. So in that manner, yes, there's a lot of learning and interesting things happening. So let's keep doing that. Let's stay positive. Let's stay focused. And hopefully all of this, in a couple of months, I'm sure it will take some time. When we are through all this thing, we can look back at these times and reminisce about them. Think about all the things that we did, and how lucky we are in that sense. So yeah, stay positive, stay healthy, stay indoors, and I'll catch you again tomorrow. Bye bye. This is